Okay.
We're live on YouTube, now live on
What's on Christ? Give me 1 second so I can share the class. Okay. Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Bashem Yahshua Barak Thumb. Yahweh Shemar Thumb Bashem Yahshua. Priest and Officer 1000 Yadiah. And this is the Monday night scripture breakdown class. Now, I'm asking the class and I'm asking everyone online, why is it important for us to come back to our culture? For what? Because right now, as the Lord's chosen people, our people don't understand our real identity. Our people are walking around believing themselves to be African American, believing themselves to be so-called Hispanic, believing themselves to be the so-called Native Americans, when we're really the Israelites of antiquity. Black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman, we are God's chosen people. We are. One of the biggest myths that we have been taught, throughout our history is that God loves everybody. He loves the oppressor. He loves the Asians. He loves the Arabs. And he loves the same people. What I never could understand or grasp when I was in the Christian church to share this is that all of these other nations that oppress, kill, and destroy us, they try to tell us that God is coming to save them as well. But I'm here to debunk the lies that Christianity and that the oppressor has taught our people. Throughout this class, I'm going to break down exactly who the oppressor is according to the Bible. And it's important to understand who he is because a lot of our people don't understand that the oppressor, who is the so-called Caucasian man and woman, is the devil that the Bible speaks of. That is one of the first things we have to understand, that the oppressor is the devil. He truly is. I know when y'all think about Satan, you think about, the devil, you think about some being underground with a little red pitchfork, a pink pantyhose. Wow. The real Shaitan, Satan, actually loves the Most High. And he loves the Most High so much that his mission is to run the Lord's people out the truth and to keep our people, from coming back to the Most High. That's why our people right now have been so destroyed, because we believe in the lies and the dogma of Christianity of the oppressor. But tonight we're going to debunk it. Go ahead, Nicole.
So, sir, if I could, what you're saying is heavy, because even just the whole logic of hell, is from a white man. They call it a divine comedy from Dante of Inferno. Him going into the 9 realms of hell.
Mm-hmm.
And him seeing the so-called devil, Satan himself. Even that logic is from the white man. Wow.
It is. And what we have to understand is that's a lie that the oppressor has been telling us for far too long. We have to understand what hell actually is. As a matter of fact, Nicole, give me Deuteronomy 28, verse 43. Let's go there. First, we have to realize what hell is. Hell is a condition, and so is heaven. Heaven is a high condition. How do you know who's in heaven? When you look here in the city of Philadelphia, right, and even all across the earth, the oppressor is living up high. He lives in the sky-rise buildings. He lives in the city. He's living very well. He's living in his gated communities. But who's in those ghettos with abortion clinics on every corner? Who's in those barrios starving to death with the same abortion clinics that's in our neighborhoods, in the ghetto and the barrio? Who's on the reservation right now struggling and dying of the coronavirus because the oppressor, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of, doesn't want to give our First Nation brothers and sisters the rightful supplies that they need, the vials and the vaccines that our First Nation brothers need. But the oppressor will send body bags, though. It just goes to show you just how evil he is. Heaven and hell are conditions. And I'm going to show you. One people right now is on top and one is on the bottom. But we used to be on top, and I'm going to actually go into that. But first, let me do Deuteronomy 28 and verse 43.
43, Scott?
Come.
Come. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 43. The stranger that is within thee.
The stranger that is within thee. At one point, we were on top, where the Lord preferred us, and the Lord still prefers us. I'm going to go into that as well. There was a point where we were on top when everybody else was below us. And one of another myths that America tells our people is that we all can live here and the melting pot known as America and be cool. Everything is hunky-dory. But we're the ones that's getting knees on our necks. We're the ones that are dying in our own homes. We're the ones that are being murdered just for sitting in our cars. We are in hell. At one point, we was in heaven. We was in our land. We was in Zion. As a matter of fact, give the Most High hand, you know what I mean, for the Passover, for the Lord's Passover that we just had, where Blacks, Hispanics, and First Nation men and women came together. And you will only find this in the Israelite school of UPK, because the Most High is not with your fake Israelite Christian group. He's not with your Christian church or your Muslim mosque. I know they like to say, well, nobody can keep the Passover because we're in captivity, and that's a lie too. We did it a foretime ago. It's in Ezra, I believe, the 6th chapter. I can break that down if somebody needs that broken down. But you saw this past Saturday, the Lord's people coming together, coming back, fighting for the kingdom, fighting for Christ's kingdom. There was a point when we were already in our kingdom. We was in Jerusalem, we was in Zion, and we were on top. And there were strangers within us. And here's the lie that they tell us, that we all can live together in peace. But the sad thing is, the oppressor can't live in peace with nobody. He can't. The scriptures say, I believe in Proverbs in the car, where it says, when the righteous bear rule, the people rejoice. When we were ruling, the people rejoiced. Right. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And the entire earth is mourning because the oppressor is in charge. Because the oppressor is in charge, now everybody on this earth is mourning and being subjugated to the devil, the oppressor. But not more than us, Blacks, Hispanics, and First Nation men and women. There was a time where the strangers dwelt amongst us. And guess what? They were segregated from us. They were what you call merchants. They had their little businesses. They have laws, too, on how we deal with them as well. For an example, if an animal died of itself, I can't sell it to you, sister, but I can sell it to Lee Chung. I can sell it, you know what I mean, to Peng Wei. I can sell it to Bob, Bill, and Fred. They already selling this cat, cat and dog and Tom and Jerry anyway, which is unlawful. We wasn't doing that. Just to show you that there were different rules in place when we were in rulership. It wasn't like how the oppressor has his foot on us right now in these other nations. But there was a point where the strangers that was within us, read on.
And thou shalt come down very low.
Read it again from the top.
Come. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
The oppressor has gotten above us very high. There was a point when the oppressor was at the bottom. Our people don't understand that the oppressor, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of, we're going to go into his biblical origins tonight. We have to understand he's a vagabond on this earth. He doesn't have a home. We have a home, Black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman. And America is not our home. The scriptures say America is not our rest. The stranger got above us very high. And read on.
Come. Mm-hmm. And thou shalt come down very low.
And thou shalt come down very low. How low are we here in America? We're at the bottom, where every other nation has dominion over us. Every other nation. They love to say, especially in this day and age now, especially with the recent events, stop Asian hate. But what about Letitia Williams in 1985 when she was in that Korean, store and she was murdered because that Moabite thought she was stealing and she wasn't? Where was Stop Asian Hate when Derek Chauvin put his knee on George Floyd's neck for more than 8 minutes? One of the so-called police officers was a Chinese man, a Moabite, Mawa'aba in the Hebrew. That's who the Chinese is. That's who the Chinese man and woman is today, Moab. That Chinese man stood right there and did not help save the life of George Floyd. Because like the oppressor, these other nations don't give a damn about us. And how do you know it? Go to their spot tonight. Go to Lee Kim's spot tonight and try to get 4 wings and fries. And she says $5, and you only got $4.99 to see if you get those 4 wings and fries. You are not going to get it. It's the same thing with the East Indians, and it's the same thing with the Arabs. Another thing to touch on that, they love to say we have an immigration problem when it comes to our Hispanic brothers and sisters. But are you aware that there are more so-called illegal East Indians and Chinese and Japanese than there is so-called Hispanics? Unbelievable, right? Here's the crazy part. They came over here on a boat and plane and didn't get a green card, where our First Nation and Hispanic brothers and sisters were already here and got ostracized, got destroyed, got put on reservation in cages. And this is rightfully their land. The oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. We have to understand just how great we are as a people and why it's important for us to come back to the Lord. Give me Deuteronomy 7:6 real quick. I know it seems like because we are so destroyed here in America, in the midst of every evil and abominable thing, the homosexuality, the pedophilia, the murder, the hating of thy brother and thy sister, even in the midst of all that wickedness that the oppressor and these other nations push on us, God still regards us as his people. God only has one people. He chose us. He didn't choose everybody. He didn't. That's another lie that they love to tell us, and we run with it. And the sad thing is, in our communities, we're quick to defend the oppressor. We're quick to defend the Chinese and the Japanese. I'll never forget, and I always give a shout out to the Ottawa out of Minnesota, Precinct Officer Quadash Young Officer 5000. He went out there 2 hours after George Floyd was murdered. You know what I mean? He did a whole camp speaking on it, urging our people, telling our people, like the Lord told Ezekiel, you know what I mean, in the 37th chapter, to prophesy in the valley of dry man's bones. And while Quadash was prophesying, it was sisters out there saying, this is the most ignorant thing I've seen all day. And George Floyd was just murdered 2 hours prior. Right. So a devil putting his knee on our brother's neck, murdering him in the process for just sitting in his car, that has nothing on a brother telling our people to come back to our God and our law, statutes, and commandments and having faith in our King, who is a black man that you know is Jesus Christ. We know him as Yahweh Shah Mashiach. That's how destroyed we are as a people. Go ahead, Nicole.
So like I said, if I could, the sister was ready to rumble him. Mm-hmm. Wasn't ready to rumble the people that did it.
It just goes to show you too, even in the video, and it was heartbreaking too. You know, when General Mayak went into it, make sure y'all tune in to Ask Ye the Prophets every Wednesday. The sad thing is, our people that was sitting there on the sideline, I don't think I could sit there and watch, you know what I mean, my brother being murdered, my sister being murdered before me, and we're all right there just watching, helpless. But if that would have been, you know, one of ours, that had been a black police officer or another brother or sister, it'd have been a different story. That's why the scriptures tell us, that's why Christ commanded us that we have to love one another as he loved us. And Christ loved us so much that he gave up his life so we can come back into this very truth. Christ ain't here because he decided to give up his life so we can have a chance to come back to the Most High. And it wasn't easy. And it's not going to be an easy journey. You all have to prepare your soul, you know what I mean, for temptation, for persecution. It's going to come being in this truth. I wish I can tell you that things get better a lot. Because when you come out that world and you walk through these doors, Captain Ahmad Yashar used to always break this down to me when I was a trooper and a young man. When you was out there in the world, Satan had you in his hands. But once you walk through these doors and start, you know what I mean, wearing that all black brother, sister, you start wrapping your hair, you stop being a murderer, you stop being a whore and a whoremonger, and stop hating your brother and your sister. Now Satan has to work 10 times harder to get you back in his grasp. Right. This is why it's important not to drop your sword, and just how beautiful the Lord's Passover really is. Because you see all of our people coming back together, you know what I mean, coming back, you know what I mean, to our God, our power that delivered us out of Egypt. And once we come back to the Most High and come build up Christ's kingdom in the UPK, guess what? Our King Yahweh Shah Mashiach is going to crack that sky with 200 million angels and lay waste to the oppressor and this earth. But first, let's start with us identifying who we are as the Lord's chosen people and identifying who our adversary is, who our enemy is. Give me Deuteronomy 7:6.
Come. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. But thou art a holy people unto the Lord.
It says, thou art an holy people. I know when we think holy, growing up in the Christian church, you think about your grandma with the feathered hats. You think about your auntie, you know what I mean, and your pastor, your good reverend with the white robe and gown on. That's not what it means to be holy. The Lord said, thou should be holy unto me, meaning we should be separate unto the Lord, because when you look holy up, holy just means to be separate. And the Most High is telling us, as the Lord's chosen people, that we are separate unto him. Now, we are separate unto God. Who does that disqualify? That disqualifies these other nations. It disqualifies Bill, Fred, Susan, Amber, all of them. God chose us. And I know it's so hard to believe because we are destroyed here in America. We're destroyed in Mexico. We're destroyed in the rainforest. We're destroyed in Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. But we are rich in the Most High in Christ because the Most High chose us. He says, for thou art an holy people. And thou is just old Quaker English for you. That's all it is. Saying we, you, black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman, we are to be separate unto the Most High. Read on.
Come. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people.
Now, who is more special than us? Who think about it, and even in this captivity, the black man and Hispanic man and woman is the most copied, the most plagiarized. Everybody wants to be us. Even in this lowest captivity, in this hell, the oppressor been wearing baseball caps and looking corny as hell. But then one day, a black man, Hispanic man decided to get up and turn that baseball cap backwards and then knock the ball out the park. And all the other nations was like, well, goddamn, we are special. And it's not just because, first let me say this, it's not because we're the smartest. It's not because we're the biggest, the fastest, you know what I mean? The fastest on the gridiron, you know, and the best shooters and the best basketball and golf players. We're great at everything we do. But the reason why is because the Most High chose us. It's because he chose us to be his special people. We are the salt of the earth because the Most High chose us to be the salt of the earth. He didn't choose the oppressor. He didn't choose the Chinese and the Japanese. The Lord said that if he'd have chose the other nations, they would be following him to this day. And that right there, when it was broken down to me, truly revealed to me that we are the Lord's chosen people. Because we could see things as blacks and Hispanics. Let's be real for 1 second. If I could just be real blunt for a minute. We can see some extraordinary stuff and still have doubts and be like, well, damn. There was a time where we were walking through the midst of the Red Sea. We saw a fire tornado come down and lay waste to them Hamites and Pharaoh, and still decided to turn against our God because Moses left us for a little while and decided to turn back to Egypt because times got rough. Who is that hard-headed? These other nations ain't that hard-headed. That's us. That's us. The Lord said that we are a stiff-necked people. This is why it's important for us to check that pride, to check that ego. We do. We are the salt of the earth. We are the special people unto the Most High. But it's because the Most High chose us. He ain't choose everybody, which means this, black man, First Nation man and woman, if you looked at that fellow black man, that fellow black woman, that fellow Hispanic man and woman as special, imagine that. If you just looked at our brothers and sisters as special, that eliminates all crime. It does. You wouldn't dream to kill your brother because he's your brother. You wouldn't bear grudges against your sister. You wouldn't. You would understand just how special we are and how important it is for us to come back together. You wouldn't be going to the abortion clinic aborting our babies. You wouldn't be selling drugs, period. You won't be murdering your brother and your sister if you only knew that we are the Lord's chosen people, a special people. Read on. Go ahead, Carl.
If I could, what you saying is heavy, sir, because from us knowing who we are and knowing the Lord, that's why at that Passover, just the whole weekend period, it was nothing but fun. You know what I mean? Positivity. You know, just good times because we know what our purpose is. We know who we are. So we look at each other eye to eye and we like, man, we like everybody. And when you go back to what you were saying a little earlier, like saying working, it don't get no easier. Every time it comes to the Passover, Satan is working harder because Satan knows that, all right, y'all, the Isupk, when y'all come together, that's nothing but motivation and love and, you know what I mean, commitment to the Lord. Mm-hmm. So that's why a lot of people, we go on and say, yeah, man, Satan working hard on me. Like, a lot of people don't want to believe it, but the Lord is showing us. Don't you see Satan trying to stop you from going to the Passover? You know what I'm saying? Like, we see what the Lord is doing. You know what I mean? Here in Isupk, and that's why, you know, it's so powerful that we able to, you know what I mean, the Lord have mercy on us, and we be able to go out and teach and show people, like, look, this is how the Lord is revealing himself. Mm-hmm. This is how the Lord is revealing how coming into the school is the only answer.
And what's heavy about what you're saying is, and how coming to this school is the only answer. Like Nakar was saying, we just had the Lord's Passover. Were there bottle girls anywhere? Was brothers walking around saying, "You single? You single? You single?" Sisters walking around, you know what I mean, with their ass out, half naked. You're not supposed to bear your nakedness for your brother and your sister to see. I'll do you one better. Did an African murder one of our sisters? It ain't never going to happen because the Most High God Yahweh is only in the Isupk under command in General Yohana. Right. He's not with Purple Rain. He's not with them other fake Israelite groups. He's not with the Christian church. The Lord is only here, and you saw it on full display. Brothers that we haven't seen in a while, brothers that we haven't even met at all. But as soon as we meet and get together, it's like we've known each other all our lives. That's the spirit of the Lord. And that's only here in the Isupk. True brotherhood cannot be found in the world and in the church and in the Muslim mosque and your fake Israelite group. True brotherhood is what you saw this past Saturday. Blacks, Hispanics, and First Nation men and women coming together, celebrating the Lord's Passover, remembering on how the Lord destroyed our enemies because they were oppressing us. And what we have to realize, guess what? The same way the Lord sent that death angel down upon Egypt and made Egypt a desolate dust bowl, the Lord is going to do the same thing to America. Right. It's going to come a time we're going to get together and remember what the Lord did to America? Remember when Yahweh came down and laid waste to Bob, Tim, and Fred? The scriptures say in Isaiah that our children are going to look at us and be like, Mother, Father, Abba, is this the man that caused the earth to tremble? Is that him? You're going to be in the museum with our babies looking at some sculpture of a mannequin of the oppressor. And that's a beautiful thing because the Most High is going to deal with the oppressor. This is why we have to do our part. This is why it's important to come out the world and stop celebrating your birthday. Stop celebrating Christmas, Thanksgiving, and these other holidays that the oppressor wants us to celebrate. We have the Lord's Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of Tabernacles. You know what I mean? We have, the Feast of First Fruits. We have to understand, we have the Day of Atonement. We have Purim. But we have to realize we have our holy days and holy convocations that we have to do, that we have to observe. And anybody saying that it's impossible to do it or that we don't have to do it, that should tell you right there that they're not in the truth. Because this past Saturday, as we all know, because we were all there, we saw our people coming together, not fighting, not arguing, not killing one another, coming together in honor of what the Lord did for us. And this is why it's important for us to continue this on and not drop that sword. Don't let Satan punk you and you drop your sword to go back into the world for what? For smoking weed? To be a whore or a whoremonger? To be a murderer? No. The Lord made us to be a special people unto himself. Read on the car.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Feel that. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Above Joe Biden, above Donald Trump, above Nancy Pelosi and all these other heathens, the Lord made us to be special unto him and above all of these heathens. I don't give a damn how destroyed we are on the reservation, in the barrio, and in the ghetto. You are better than Donald Trump. You're better than Joe Biden. You're better than these heathens. We are. We have to understand this, because in order for us to come back to the Most High, we have to stop envying the oppressor. We have to stop looking at what the oppressor has and saying, I have to get a piece of that I have to live the so-called American dream. The American dream ain't for us, black man, Hispanic man, and woman. I hate to tell it to you, but a lot of our people in the car think they free white and 21. You think you can do what the oppressor can do. The oppressor can murder his mama for the insurance money and do no jail time. Easy. As a matter of fact, the oppressor can murder one of our sisters while she sleeps next to her husband, and then the only bullets that he gets charged with is the ones that missed, and still get probation. We don't have those same privileges, and neither should we want them, because the Lord is telling us that we are not on equal footing with them, with these other nations. We are above them. And to further go into that, give me Deuteronomy 32 and verse 8, because that's another thing that they say. They tell us, stop Asian hate. Remember 9/11. They tell us every year to remember 9/11 when only, a couple thousand people died? I'm going to remember that 99 million of my First Nation brothers and sisters that was murdered by the oppressor. The 100 million Black and Hispanic men and women that were murdered just coming over here to the so-called America. They don't keep that same energy when it comes to us, because they know who we are, because they know we are God's chosen people. They know this. That's why in the Apocrypha it says that, I believe it was a Moabite king, he was letting other heathens know, if you come over here, and this is the so-called New World, our First Nation brothers and sisters was already here. Our Hispanic brothers and sisters already here chilling. And that Moabite king was warning the other heathens, saying, hey, if they are serving their God, leave them alone. And why did the Lord say that? Because the paraphrase in Romans, I believe it's Romans 8:31, where if God be for us, who could be against us? No one can stand against us if we are serving our God and serving our power. No one can stand against us. That's why it's important for us to do what God says to do. You are not going to live in peace and harmony with the oppressor, and neither does God want that to be so. The scriptures say, who can make straight which I have made crooked? And the oppressor is a crooked bastard. Now I'm going to show you how the Lord divided the nations. Give me Deuteronomy 32 and verse 8.
We're in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 8. When the Lord, when the Most High divided the nations, their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
Now, he said the bounds of the people were according to this. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, the Most High gave every nation their portion. Every nation their portion. And then it says when he separated the sons of Adam, because they love to tell us. Nakar knows that they tell us at camp. They're like, you wrong, brother. You don't got a point. We all come from Adam. Yeah, we do. Everybody on this earth right now comes from Adam. But God separated the sons of Adam. We're not all supposed to be together like this. And if you look at America's infrastructure, neither should it be that way. When we were separated, I was watching a documentary that was hard to watch. It's hard for me to watch documentaries on Rosewood, you know what I mean, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Black Wall Street. It's hard. I hate to see our people being destroyed and murdered, but it's also a good refresher to keep that hate in your mind, to understand just how evil the oppressor is. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, Blacks and First Nation men and women lived in harmony. We was by ourselves, chilling, own communities, own schools, own hospitals, just Blacks and First Nation and Hispanics chilling, not bothering nobody. And during this time while we're prospering, while these other nations, like we're getting ready to do business deals with us, the oppressor in his economy was falling. The oppressor's economy was so bad during the boom and rise of Black Wall Street that they called it the Great Depression. When the oppressor is going through it and we're striving, you better look out, especially if we're not serving our God and our power. The oppressor saw us thriving and said, how the hell are these slaves? How the hell are these niggas, these spicks, and these savages thriving? And we're destroyed. And here's the thing. And we know the story of what happened. We know the history. They came and burned Rosewood down. They came and burned Tulsa, Oklahoma down to the ground. And now the ruins and the pictures are in museums. You see how evil the oppressor is? That's why I cannot wait to be walking with my offspring in the kingdom, and I get the point to Phil. I get the point to Tim. Carl, I'm gonna point to Tim. I'm gonna point to him. Like, you see that devil right there? He's the devil that the Bible speaks of. He did this, that, and the third in America. But then our King Yahushua Mashiach came down, and they are no more. Go ahead, Nicole.
So, like, sir, if I could, that's why I like Isaiah chapter 14, because it goes so well into how, you know, if I could, can I pull it up?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. The book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob.
The Lord is going to have mercy on Jacob. Now, we'll break down a little bit who Jacob and Esau is, going to the history. But Jacob is our forefather, Black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman. The Lord said he's going to have mercy on Jacob. He's going to have mercy on that Black and Hispanic man and woman. Read on.
Come, and will yet choose Israel.
And will yet choose Israel, meaning God ain't going to choose everybody.
Right.
God is going to choose us. Read on. Go ahead.
If I could, sir, the Lord is a racist.
That's right. The Lord is a racist. They like to say, well, are you racist? Not really me. And it goes to show you just how evil the oppressor is. Is the Chinese man and woman racist because they want to come to America and build a Chinatown in every major city and only employ their own? Are they racist for that? Or do they love their people? Chinese man and woman love each other so much that they're not going to give you a job, brother. You can't be in that kitchen cooking up that Tom and Jerry. You can't. First of all, we can't stomach that anyway. I can see in the car right now, like, God damn, it's a shame what they're doing to them dogs. That ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. But they love their own people, just like how the oppressor loves his people. The East Indians love their people. These Indians love their people so much that every time you get one of them little automated telephone calls, something out, do you have an account with Pico? There's always somebody that's East Indian. It's always a Bibi or it's always one of them. We don't do that. We don't. It's the same thing when the Africans be scamming the hell out of our sisters. You know what I mean? Talking about there are some prince from Nigeria and they need to rebuild the Nile. Sister, can you send $20,000? And some of y'all do it. Some of y'all do it. Your brother can't get $10. Your brother can't get $10. God forbid if that brother owe you $10. It's over. You're going to put him on child support and have him locked up. But when it comes to them other nations, forget about it. They love their people. Are they racist? Didn't think so. They love their people. Maybe the oppressor just doesn't understand what racism really means. Racism is prejudice plus power. First of all, according to Esau, we can't be racist by the very definition. We don't have the power to tell their kids, you can't go to this school. You can't do this. You can't do that. We can't. We are, as a matter of fact, look at the HBCUs. I've never seen so many oppressors in HBCUs, and it is sickening. I do love the fact that our people are starting to go back to HBCUs. But it just goes to show you the entire concept of racism is wrong. And even when you look at it from the other angle, racism is really just preferring your own. And we prefer our own. Am I wrong for preferring my Black man, Hispanic man, and First Nation man and woman? God told me to prefer them. God told me to only love them and no one else. Go ahead, Nicole.
If I could, sir, like, I like planting seeds. So, like, I'm like at work, right? You know, I work in the kitchen. So, you know, the servers, they be white girls, you know. And the dudes, they like, dang, you see that? And I be like, nah, I don't like no white girl. You know what I'm saying? I like the sisters. You know what I'm saying? What the hell I'm worried about some white girl for? Yeah, you forgot what they did, what they doing and done to our people? Why the hell did you sleep with a dog? I said, go worry about them sisters, man.
If I could, sleeping with a white woman is sleeping with a dog. That's bestiality.
Word.
You sleeping with Karen, you sleeping with Susan and Amber, that's bestiality. And the Lord said in Deuteronomy 7:3, give not thy sons unto thy daughters, and neither thy daughters unto thy sons. This is why it's important for us to prefer one another. Black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man, and woman. When you lay down with that sister, you are now married. Sex is marriage, and it is evil of our people to go and get Becky, to go and get a sinking African, to go and get an East Indian. What y'all seeing the oppressor is just, it's beyond me. And what you're seeing them stinking Africans, I don't know. And the fact that they be trying to tell us that we the same people is just off the wall in the car. Because first of all, black women, you should be offended that, you know what I mean, that people be trying to say that, oh, you're queens of the Nile, you were queens in Egypt, you know, you got to be more like your African sisters. Meanwhile, they over there in West and North Africa right now, rolling around in cow feces, bathing in giraffe water, smelling like rhinoceros musk. Our people got to cut that nonsense out in the car. We are not Africans. And this is why it's important for us to prefer that black woman, that Hispanic woman, that First Nation woman. Barzal recall, big shout out to him. He made a tweet last year, you know what I mean, that shook up the entire world of Twitter and social media, where even the Shade Room had to show it, where he said, no, he said, African women will never look better than black women. And he was absolutely right. And that Hamite Wale, because Wale is an African, he's not an Israelite. His parents is from Nigeria. And Igbos and Nigerians are not Israelites, for you silly nuts out there. They're not. A whole country of them is not our people. The thing is, which goes to show you why we have to prefer our own, people were in an uproar. A lot of brothers was like, man, what's going on? But I was proud of the sisters in the car because the sisters was hip to it. They know we're not the same. We're not the same as them. And if I could say this, there's no one more beautiful than black and Hispanic and First Nation women. There is nothing more beautiful than our sisters. Give yourself a round of applause. I saw y'all at the Passover. I said, there's no way that Karen, Susie, Becky, Lee Chung, and Nafutu and Gala can compete with our sisters. They cannot. They cannot. And it is an evil thing to prefer them. That's why the Lord said that he was going to yet choose Israel. This is why it's important for us to prefer each other, black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman. A lot of our people think we can rebuild the black household without the black woman. How the hell are you going to do that? Sisters believe that too. You think you can rebuild our nation with Bill and with Bob? That cannot happen. It can't, because the seed goes through the man. And that seed that comes from the rod of that black and Hispanic and First Nation man is special. God is only choosing Israel. He ain't choosing nobody else. He chose us. Read on the car.
Come. And will yet choose Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And set them in their own land.
He's going to set us back in our own land, in Jerusalem, in Zion. Passover was beautiful, man. We came together in captivity and still celebrated the Lord's Passover. Can you imagine the Passover in the kingdom? Good night. Good night. And you already know how we is, Israel. We already like to party. You can forget about it. Like, you know what I mean, the car? It's going to be Esau back there serving. It's going to be Esau out there setting all that up, and we're going to remember, you know what I mean, how the Lord brought us up out of Egypt and soon to be America. God is saying that he is only going to choose us and place us back in our land, because America is not our rest. What type of rest can I have if I can't sleep next to my wife in peace without the oppressor kicking down my door and murdering her? What type of rest is a Mexican sister by the name of Vanessa Gilead being a part of the Esau's military, the oppressor's military, and being raped and mutilated and chopped up and buried, and then telling her mother and her sister that they don't know what happened to her? You mean to tell me that's our rest here in America? No, this is not our rest. Don't get comfortable, black man, Hispanic man, and woman. This is not our resting place. It's not. The Lord is going to place us back in our own land. Read on.
Come. And the strangers shall be joined with them.
Now, strangers going to be joined with us. They like to say, well, you see, you dying, the stranger's going to be with us. I had a sister tell me, I'm going to take my Edomite in the kingdom. I was like, oh, really? Oh, really? I got a job for him. I'm going to give him to Abad Hayat. He ain't going to be on equal footing with you, sis. And he for damn sure ain't going to have no station. They think that these other nations is going to be joined under us, and we're going to be living in peace and perfect harmony. That ain't what's going to happen. And the scripture is going to explain it. Go ahead, Nicole.
Somebody, so real quick, if I could, right? So is he saying, is what she's saying, her husband as an Edomite is going to get a golden ticket to the kingdom of heaven?
Believe it or not, Nicole, she was talking about her girlfriend.
Oh, man.
That's what I said. I said, nigga, what? Ain't no way. And homosexuality is an abomination to the Lord, black man, Hispanic man, and woman. Just goes to show you. And that's how simple our people is. Because our people suffer from something called Stockholm Syndrome. You believe that you cannot function and make it without the oppressor, without your white daddy, without your Aunt Karen. Guess what? They're going to have a place. They're going to be joined unto us, but not the join unto us that you think. It ain't going to be peace and harmony. No. Because we're not living in peace and harmony with the oppressor. You mean to tell me, if I could just go off topic, Salakia Israel, y'all got any questions in the class or in the comments, let me know. Salakia. You mean to tell me, because a lot of our people was excited that Derek Chauvin, you know what I mean, got those guilty counts and verdicts. But then 2 hours later, a young 15-year-old girl was murdered by a devil. Another brother in North Carolina was murdered by the oppressor. In 2 hours, 2 more of our people were murdered. An Hispanic brother later on that day too, I believe it was about 4 hours afterwards. What the hell was we celebrating for? More than likely, like 12 Shield General Mayaka Allah said, that devil was going to get off on good behavior. He'll probably do about maybe 5-10 years, and then he'll be on the police force in another county or another state. And then he's going to do the same thing. Going to do the same thing. America's not our rest. When the scripture said they're going to be joined unto us, understand this. It's something coming to the oppressor. It's something coming to these other nations. And I'm going to go into it right now. Go ahead, Nicole.
Come. And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 2. And the Lord shall take them and bring them to their place.
Bring them to their place. What is the place? Go ahead, Nicole.
So you want me to let somebody else do?
Handle what, to read it?
So like that?
We'll say it again.
So you want me to let somebody else answer?
No, you can answer.
Oh God.
If you got it online, type it in. Go ahead, you can answer, Nicole.
Oh God.
What does it mean, bring them to their place?
What do you mean? Bring them to their place. You know, and the Israelite term, you know, put them in their place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, put them in their place for doing what they did to the native, the so-called Native Americans, what they did to the so-called Hispanics and blacks for over 500 years. They raped, pillaged, murdered our people, even making games out of our deaths, man.
Mm-hmm.
Making national holidays for our own destruction.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta pay, and they have. It's only right. Everybody was so happy. So like, sir, I was in my car, stuck in traffic up 69th Street, right? And I knew that the devil was found guilty because everybody started beeping their horns. So many people were so enjoyous. Me, I understand these scriptures because of committed Jenny honor. And I know this ain't enough. I want justice. I want to put them in a place for the things that they still do to us till this day. It's only weak that you will want to sit up there and allow these people to go off free just because it happened yesterday. Oh, you know, it's cool. No, justice got to be served.
It's like we go back to being the oppressor's friend.
Right.
It's like, and I saw something on social media that was disgusting. and why I want to break down who Esau is according to the scriptures. The Las Vegas Raiders now, they were the Oakland Raiders. Their owner, Al Davis Jr., posted, "I can breathe." Now, that can mean many different things. You look at it, you'd be like, damn, he's saying I can breathe. He's making fun of George Floyd, which he is. And then to show you how evil the oppressor is, he was saying, well, I feel as though as a people, we can breathe now that Derek Chauvin is going to have justice. We can go back to the way things were. Back to more knees being put on our necks,
right.
More of our sisters being murdered, more of our babies being murdered. Right. Now you can breathe, huh? That's why the oppressor is being put to their place. The knee is going on their neck. I'm going to tell you what righteous judgment would be if the oppressor had any type of dignity. First of all, the facts is can we all agree that we all watched George Floyd be murdered live and live in color? Like live 95. We saw this happen with our own eyes. Right. What the hell was a trial needed for? Right. Why did that have to go to trial? That was open and shut. Right. The penalty should be Nakar putting his knee on Derek Chauvin's neck. That's right. That's what the penalty should have been. Right. Eye for an eye. But the oppressor probably going to do 5 years, 10 years maybe, get probation, become a police officer somewhere else, and do the same thing. That's why they had to be brought to their place. Read on.
Come. In the house of Israel shall possess them.
And we're going to possess them, meaning we are going to own them. We are going to own the oppressor, own the Japanese and the Chinese and the East Indians. I cannot wait. We're in the car.
Like you said, I thought God was all love.
I thought so too. So you mean to tell me we're going to possess these other heathens like they possessed us? Because they possess us. We are still in the land of our captivity. We still in America. The scriptures say that we was going to be brought over here on cargo slave ships and we brought into bondage again, Egypt, because Egypt is a word that means bondage. Right. We still in the land of our captivity. Now they're going to be in possession. Read on.
Come. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids.
We're going to have them for servants and handmaids. Think about all of our West Indian brothers and sisters, tribe of Bunyamyan, that come over here and they have to wipe the filthy behind of these old decrepit devils. Think about it. Think about all of our Hispanic brothers and sisters that come over here and take care and fix the toilets of these oppressors and water and take care of their fields. They're going to have to do that for us. They're going to have to do that for us. Why? Because we did it for them. Captain Mashak Mayum told the hardest thing at camp one time. And he was like, I cannot wait to ride into a oppressor's plantation. And I'm going to do the same thing, yo. I'm going to ride in there on one of them big black mountain horses, the size of an Escalade, a little bit bigger. I'm going to be trembling down to that plantation, that oppressor plantation. I am going to kick open the first barn door I see and snatch the firstborn baby of the first she-devil I see. And she's going to beg and plead, please, nigga, please. And this is just me. When we get in the kingdom, they can't, I don't want to hear Ottawa. You ain't got to call me sir. But I'm going to have one thing carry over. Still call me nigga. Call me master nigga. El Jefe nigga. Senor nigga. Call me that. The baby's father or mother going to come to me, please, nigga. Please, El Negro. Please, nigga. Please. He's only an infant. And I'm going to be like, don't worry, Bill. Don't worry, Jim Bob. Don't worry, Karen, Amber. You'll see him again. I'll be back. And I'm going to come back a couple years later with that child while he's walking around. I'm going to place him on the ground, and that she-devil is going to have the audacity and the courage. She's going to muster it up and say, my Lord, nigger, please, is that my child? And I'm going to look at her. I'm going to look at the child, look back at her, look at the child, look back at her, snatch the baby up, jump on that horse, and ride off in the sunset. And then I'm going to do the same shit next week. Slaki for the language. Because the oppressor gave our forefathers and mothers turmoil, depression and anxiety by snatching our babies from us. They still do it to our so-called Hispanic brothers and sisters at the goddamn border today. They take our Mexican brothers and sisters, our babies, and take them and then list them as undocumented and then give them to homosexual couples to raise and sell them into sex trafficking. Guess what, Esau? I'm going to take your babies and I'm going to sell them on Amazon. I'm going to sell them on Etsy. I'm going to sell them on Wish. The Down syndrome ones got to go on Wish, sis. The Down syndrome ones got to go on Wish, brother. I'm going to put a picture of Justin Bieber up there, and then I'm going to send you that thing from the Goonies. And it ain't no return policy neither. Not with me. Because they do this to our people. They do this to us. And Revelations 13 and verse 9 and 10 says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. This is the patience of the saints, and we are the saints, black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man, and woman, Nicole.
So, like, sir, if I could, a lot of people think that this Bible was just peace and love.
They think it.
Like this, the Lord required blood, and definitely for this offense that these people have done it, is still doing to us. Like, let's not forget, what you're saying is right, and it ain't compared to what they did to our children. That they raped our children. That they scalped our children. They had games where they threw fastballs into a hole, into a newborn infant. Fed our babies to alligators. That is something so monstrous, and people just so willingly just let it go. We can't. We got to go to war.
We forget about that. You know how we forget about it? They tell us to stop Asian hate. Remember 9/11? I'm never going to forget about my people, the suffering that we go through as the Lord's chosen people. That's why it says in verse 2, for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. Because we're their captives. They rule over us. And to read on, it says, and they shall rule over their oppressors. We are going to rule over the so-called white man. We are going to rule over these other nations. It must be done. It has to be done because of the evil and the crimes that the oppressor has done unto us. God separated us for a reason, separated the bounds of the children of Israel. You know what I mean? According to the number of the heathens. Meaning the Lord took us and separated us from these heathens. You know what I mean? And gave us our own land and our own inheritance. The Most High only chose us. And what we have to understand is that the oppressor has been an evil monster since the beginning. And Carl, let's drop that. Give me Genesis 25 and start at verse 21. It's important to understand our history because a lot of our people don't understand or even know that the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And let's reveal his identity because the scriptures reveal it. The thing is, the oppressor is not really so-called white. Like, sis, your shirt is white. Like, your blouse is white. You know what I mean? Brother, I believe your shirt is white. That's not what the oppressor looks like. He's not. They tell us that we're black. Black is a derivative of brown. Black, Hispanic, and First Nation men and women are so-called brown people. Now, is the oppressor a so-called white man? No. He did an excellent job hiding who he is. And if our people understood who he was and who he is, you would know him just for how evil he is and the evil things that he's done in the past. People think that the oppressor became like this overnight. No, he started out like this. He was all from the beginning. And there's no redeeming him neither. And I'm going to go into that. Give me Genesis 25 and start at verse 21.
Okay. The book of Genesis, chapter 25, and verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife.
Now, Isaac went to the Most High for his wife, Rebecca. Now, Rebecca was barren for a little while. She didn't think she could have children. Now, when Isaac and her came, to the angel of the Lord, and when they told her that they was going to have a baby in old age, they laughed. They was like, yeah, all right. But guess what? Rebecca ended up getting pregnant. Let's see who she got pregnant with. Read on.
Come. Because she was barren, And the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived.
The Lord was entreated with Isaac, man. The Lord, first of all, this promise was only given to our forefathers and us. Our forefathers are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Lord ain't with all these other nations. And we're going to actually go more into it. I ain't going to give you too much. Let's read on.
Come, verse 22. The children struggled together within her.
Now, it says the children struggle together. Wait a minute. Rebecca is having children, meaning more than one. And they struggling with each other. Read on.
Come. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
Man, Rebecca was like, yo, what the hell is going on? It feel like World War IV with these little niggas in my stomach. What's going on? Why are they going at it like this? Now, Rebecca went, let's read on.
Okay. And she went to inquire of the Lord.
Now, she went to go inquire of the Lord. Isaac didn't know none of this. She went to go inquire of the Lord. She said, hold up, I gotta figure this out. These two little niggas is rumbling inside my womb. They going at it. What's going on? So she went to go inquire of the angel of the Lord, man. Read on.
Come. I read verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
2 what?
2 nations are in thy womb.
2 nations are in thy womb. 2 different nations. I wonder who those nations are. 2 different nations, 2 different nationalities. Read on.
Come. And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated. Now, even though they're brothers, the Lord was going to separate them. Meaning they ain't brothers no more. The Lord separated these 2 brothers because one was because the Lord said there are going to be 2 nations that are in thy womb. And the one brother is going to be representing one nation, and the other brother is going to be the forefather of a different nation. Let's read on.
Come. And the one people shall be stronger than the other.
The one shall be stronger than the other. Read on.
Come. And the elder shall serve the younger.
Now the angel of the Most High told Rebecca, the elder child is going to serve the younger. Meaning the eldest child will have to serve the younger child. Read on. Keep that in mind too. Read on.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold.
Now it's time for her days to be fulfilled. Now it's time for her to have the babies. Read on.
And among there were twins in her womb.
Lo and behold, she had 2 babies. 2 different manner of people, 2 different nations. Read on.
Come. The first came out red.
The first baby came out what?
Red.
The first child came out red. Now, let's break that down for a minute. What color does the oppressor turn in the heat? Turns red. When it gets a little bit too cold, he turns like a reddish pink. He ain't white. The oppressor is the real red man on the earth. They like to say that that's our First Nation brothers and sisters. No, they're brown. They're the First Nation of the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Ra'al. They have a forefather, and their forefather is the same as ours. But the forefather of the oppressor is this bastard right here. Read on.
Come. All over like an hairy garment.
And he's hairy all over. He came out looking like a fur ball. Y'all know the oppressor. The oppressor has hair everywhere. Like brothers, we grow the beards out. You know what I mean? We grow our beards out, grow the hair out, hair long and everything. But the oppressor got hair everywhere. Looking like the Geico, caveman. That's him. That's him. If the oppressor don't shave everything, they're going to look like a real Neanderthal. That's how they came out. Red and hairy all over, like a hairy garment. Read on.
Come. And they called his name Isupk.
And they called his name what?
Esau.
They called his name Esau. Keep that in mind. Esau. Esau is the father of the oppressor, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of. I believe his name means wasted away. I believe that's what Esau means, wasted away. Out of one, red in the Hebrew. That's Edom. Edom is wasted away. But the so-called Edomites come from Esau. That's the oppressor. The Italians, the Irish, the so-called Germans, who all have their own little subnames, like the oppressor over there in Israel right now that's masquerading as a Jew who'll never be a Jew, who's the devil that the Bible speaks of, Amalek in the Hebrew. They're descendants of Esau, Edom, out of one. Read on.
All right. Verse 26. So like it. And they called his name Esau. Verse 26. And after that came his brother out.
Now his brother came out. Now they're not going to say nothing about what his brother looked like because he came out looking normal. His brother came out looking regular. Got to understand this about Esau too. Esau has the curse of Cain because Cain murdered his brother Abel. Cain murdered his brother and then tried to lie about it. Then tried to say, well, am I my brother's keeper? Which is not a UPK term either. If you out there saying that, stop saying that. We don't say that. This ain't New Jack City. It's not. We love our brothers and sisters. That's why we don't murder each other. That's why we shouldn't do that. But Cain murdered his brother out of jealousy, murdered Abel, man. And Esau is bearing the mark and curse of Cain. Read on.
Come. And his hand took hold on Esau's heel.
Now his hand took hold on Esau's heel. Meaning, when our forefather came out, he grabbed hold of Esau's heel. Hold that, Dakar. Give me 2 Ezra 6 and verse 9. I'm going to show you what that symbolizes. Jacob grabbing Esau's heel. Now, also too, remember, they was rumbling in the womb, which goes to show you our forefather was giving it to Esau in there. He was in there giving it to him. And he grabbed his heel like, hold on, nigga, I ain't done with you. But give me that, 2 Ezra 6 and 9.
All right, we're in the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 9. This is in the Apocrypha, 9 in the regular King James Bible. The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world.
Esau is the end of the world. Meaning the oppressor's world is coming to an end. The oppressor symbolizes the end of the world. Read on.
And Jacob is the beginning of it that follows.
Now Jacob coming out, grabbing that heel of Esau, that's the beginning of what comes after. Meaning it's going to be a righteous earth when we are back in rulership. It is. Meaning this. There's going to come a time, man, in our world, ruled by the Most High, with our King, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, being ruler over this earth, sitting on his throne, sitting under the Most High. You ain't going to read about or hear about sisters being murdered by the oppressor in their homes. You're not going to see, drug dealing. We're not going to be murdering our brothers and our sisters. You're not going to be doing every evil and abominable thing because we're going to have the law in our front lids. We all going to understand and know the law, statutes, and commandments then. I pray you understand. Our world is going to be righteous. Now, let's go back to Genesis, the 25th chapter. Genesis 25 and start at verse 27.
Come. We're in the book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 27. And the boys grew. Like you said, we use that verse 26.
Yeah, keep reading 26.
God. Verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's head. And his name was called Jacob.
Jacob is our forefather. The forefathers of blacks, Hispanics, and First Nation men and women whose name was changed to Israel. Yasha Allah. Read on.
Come. And Isaac was 80 years old when she buried him.
It was old. Read on.
Verse
27.
Verse 27. The boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter.
Esau was a cunning hunter. Now, does this fit a description? They say we fit descriptions all the time. Now, who is the man that is in a forest right now with deer piss covered all over him, hunting deer? Who goes helicopter hunting, you know what I mean, and killing the polar bear? Who's killing the earth? Who's killing us? Esau, because the oppressor is Esau. Everywhere you turn, if you go to the magazine rack at any local convenience store, you see the oppressor holding big game like this, smiling, holding a giraffe, a lion, you know what I mean? He's holding the Loch Ness monster like this, and alligators and crocodiles. And you just be like, well, goddamn, the oppressor kills and murders everything. How can you forget about what he did to our First Nation brothers and sisters? He didn't just murder our people, our First Nation brothers and sisters. He murdered the buffalo, the American bison. The American bison's population is damn near extinct. It's an endangered species to the highest degree because the oppressor decided to murder them for big game. That's the oppressor. And then they got the nerve to tell us in the car that we got to save the polar bear, that we have to save the earth, that the reason why them snapper turtles is dying because they be devouring, eating plastic, them and the elephants, is because of everybody else. First of all, that disqualifies every Black, Hispanic, and First Nation man and woman, because I would bet my rank that in every household of every Black, Hispanic, and First Nation man and woman, that there is a drawer or a cabinet full of plastic. We don't throw, you know what I mean? We don't throw plastic out there in the street. Yeah, we hold on to that. Don't ask us why. We just do. That's just what we do. That ain't us. The oppressor always trying to put something on us that just ain't true. Just tell you what type of liar and evil monster he is. You're the one that's killing the giraffe and the buffalo and the polar bear and the penguins. You're the one that's cutting into the so-called ozone layer and destroying the entire earth. Go ahead, Nicole.
If I could, sir, you know, I used to, when I was in school, you know, I remember BP, white gas company. They spilled tons of barrels of oil to the Gulf of Mexico, where it destroyed a lot of the life that surrounds it. You know, like the whole Industrial Revolution started destroying, you know, it started destroying, you know, a lot of the ecosystem. You know, even with, you know, looking into, like you said, the ozone layer. You're supposed to be going all the way up there. The Lord got it set up that way for a reason. Mm-hmm. And you want to go up there, like they just destructive.
Mm-hmm. He's a cunning hunter. And you know what his favorite big game is? He loves to go out there and kill moose and elk and bears and tigers. But the oppressor gets a real kick out of dragging you out your car, black man, and putting his knee on your neck for the entire earth to see. And he smiles and then turns around and acts like he did nothing wrong. Esau has always been a cunning hunter. Look what happened with Ahmaud Arbery. You thought, you know what I mean, we were witnessing just a murder. It wasn't just a murder. It was two devils in front, one in the back of him, and they murdered him. He was the target. He was the big game. We the top of the food chain when it comes to hunting, you know what I mean, for the oppressor. He loves to hunt and kill us. Esau's always been like that. Freedom.
Come on. All right. The boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. A man of the field.
A man of the field. Esau loved to go out there, roll around in the snow, killing the polar bear, killing the penguins, he killed Free Willy, you know what I mean? It's just rough. Esau out here killing everybody. And then he makes shows to show us how he does it. He does. He does it. We all grew up watching Esau doing what in the car? Jumping on crocodiles, killing snakes, killing everything. And we just be like, well, God damn, that's not in our nature. And it's going to go into the nature of Blacks, Hispanics, and First Nation men and women. Read on.
Oh God, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents.
Jacob, our forefather, was a plain brother, dwelling in tents, meaning it's Blacks, Hispanics, and First Nation men and women. We like to chill. We like to party. You know what I mean? We stay out the way, in the cut. You know what I mean? I always imagine this. I always imagine our forefather Jacob going outside to look outside of his tent, and Esau is out there chasing and killing everything, and he just like, man, look at this one, look at him killing the deer, killing the elk, killing everything, and he just be like, come on, Esau, do you have to be like this? You got to kill everything in the field, everything. You got to kill all of the above. I saw a documentary where Esau killed like 200 ducks. I said, you why? And they put them in stores that you have to kill all of them. God damn. They can't help themselves. He's a man of the field, a cunning hunter. While we just like to dwell in tents. Look at us. We always at the mansion party. We was in the mansion, chilling, having a good time. You know what I mean? Drinking, having, you know what I mean? Listening to music, dancing. Was we out there in the field looking, you know what I mean, for the wildlife in Houston, Texas? His brothers out there killing, you know what I mean, the cattle and elk and deer. Nah, we don't do it. We go to the gun range. That's about it. But the hunting, I'm gonna leave that for Esau. The pouring deer piss over his body, you know what I mean, and crawling around and feces trying to catch. You got that. No. Go ahead, Nicole.
If I could, so I went inside what is it, Cabrisas, Damascus, something like that. You know what I'm talking about, the little hunting store? It's like Cabrisas, I don't know. I was looking at some of the things that they had in there. One, white men cannot dress. All right, I'm not going to go out in the woods looking like that. I'm going to go out there looking like an Israelite soldier. You know what I'm saying? Not. Besides that,
that's some real Israelite stuff. We out there in the wilderness for nobody to see us but the animals got to know Nakar fly. They got to know Nakar got on a Milano jacket. Like that poor elk that's getting ready to die by Nakar head. That elk has to know that Nakar was the flyest brother out there. Salagi, go ahead.
I ain't mean to Milano.
Go ahead. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying some of that stuff. I'm like, come on, man. You really gonna put this on?
You and Danielle are gonna be out there. Esau out there with elk boots on, drowning himself in all the feces so we can smell like them. Y'all out there in Balenciagas, Gucci hunting vests. They gonna see you coming. They gonna be like, look at them fly niggas. Come on, man. That's why the Lord said that Jacob was a plain man.
Right.
Not saying that we can't hunt, but we can't do it like Esau. We can't. We cannot do it like him because he's the most vicious hunter we've ever seen, the world has ever seen. Go ahead, Nicole.
If I could, sir, I'm gonna finish up what I was gonna say. I went inside the store and I was looking at some of the some of the ways that they hunt and how cunning it is. You know, like when you hunting an animal, it's supposed to be for consumption. You know, like even if you go fishing, you're supposed to be going fishing for something that you about to eat. You know, you're like, all right, I'm trying to find something that I can eat.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just gonna go out there just fishing just to, I caught this. And then, you know, if we find something that's in the water that is not consuming, we're gonna throw it back in there. And the Native Americans said it best. They said the white people, these white people, they had none but evil in their heart, even on how they hunt. it is not traditional, it's not right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's another account from another Israelite tribe. You know what I mean? That's still coming to bring it. All 12 tribes had the same account about these white people.
Mm-hmm.
That they move very cunning and there's so much evil in their heart.
Exactly. He's the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. He is the devil. Nobody move like him. But let's read on.
Con, somebody, is there a time check? 8:30?
Come.
All right.
We'll read a little bit more. Go ahead.
Con. Verse 27. And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Verse 28. And Isaac loved Esau because he did not eat of his vision.
It's venison. Now, Isaac loved Esau. Still his son, Esau was bringing back the big game, the lawful big game. He loved his son. Like, man, look at my son out there. My son he's a hunter. He's a man of the field. Go ahead, Esau. Read on.
God. But Rebekah loved Jacob.
Now, not saying Rebekah didn't love Esau, because mothers, most mothers already know. You love all your children. You got that special one that you're not gonna admit. You ain't gonna say it out loud. You know what I mean? But y'all got special kids. Just like how the Lord has a special people. Now, I'm not saying that she didn't love Esau, but remember, she loved Jacob because remember, the angel of the Lord told her that the elder was going to serve the younger. Jacob was her younger son, and Jacob was just more righteous. Imagine being a mother, sis, and your oldest son is out there bringing home ant farms and setting them on fire, killing the snakes and the frogs, and your younger son is just so obedient. He says, "Con, mother, I love you, mom." He does everything right. But that other son is just out there. He's just killing and murdering everything. Not saying you don't love him, but you just like that nigga crazy. That's all. That's all. But of course you're gonna prefer that one. And Rebecca preferred Jacob. That's all. Read on.
God. And Jacob side pottage.
Now, I don't know if I might have to speed it up. No, we're gonna go into it. I got time. Now, Jacob was making pottage, making stew. And when you're making stew, it takes a while to make stew. We all make stew. You know what I mean? That lawful beef or chicken, you know what I mean, with the vegetables and stuff in it, getting it right. This stew ain't done yet. Jacob just got started. Now read on.
God. And Esau came from the field.
Now Esau was coming from the field. Lord knows what he was out there doing to them animals in that field. I don't even want to know. I just know he was out there being himself. That's all I'm gonna say. He was out there doing him, murdering everything in sight. Go ahead.
God. And he was faint. Verse 30.
He was tired. He was like, "Man, Jacob, I've been out there killing all day. Messing around this field. I'm hungry." Read on.
Go
ahead.
All right. Verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, "Feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage."
Now, Jacob looked at Esau and was like, "What? You mean to tell me you want me to feed you right now?" Now, Jacob would have fed his brother because Jacob's a righteous man. But he like, "Hold up, bro. It's red. It's bloody." Like sis, what abominable bastard would eat his beef bloody? I wonder who. Who eats their steak rare with blood gushing out? Who tells Nakar to grab my piece of meat, get a blowtorch, and brown each side, but make sure that blood come out? That's the oppressor. He's always had a thing, you know what I mean, for eating his beef, his meat raw and bloody. You gotta cook our food. Our food gotta be well done, medium well. That's probably the furthest I go is medium well. You know what I mean? You can't anything anything above that, you are borderline transgression of the law. But we're not supposed to consume blood. What I was taught to do is, grab a fork, put it through the steak. You know what I mean? Don't worry about. I believe in the car. The pus is all right, but if it's full out bleeding, bleeding, you can't eat that. You gotta send that back. They gotta make that order all over again. But then Esau still look at you like that's a ruined steak. I remember in the car when you pulled up that picture, you know what I mean, and how Esau like it, or how he likes it blue, and there was the description that said this is a perfect steak, and then it said anything, below medium well, and especially well done was a travesty. What?
All right. So the temperatures on steaks, right? Even like, all right, I'm gonna tell you how diabolical it really is, right? White people will eat pork chops undercooked. Knowing that pigs carry bacteria, USDA, white people, corporate America, they will allow you to serve an undercooked pork chop. Pork chop still pink, still getting that blood in it. They'll let you sell that. And the white man says that a steak cooked at 140 between 150, I think down there 130 is good to put on the table.
Crazy, yeah. Goes to show you that the oppressor is truly the devil that the Bible speaks of. We don't have to worry about that in the kingdom. Because first of all, them pigs are going to live. Gotta stop eating the swine, stop eating pork. They were not meant to be consumed. They are the bottom feeders. Them and shrimp and crabs and lobster, they're supposed to eat everything else. If you want a pig, have a pig for a pet. It's the easiest pet to have. You know what I mean? You can name them Tim. name her Amber. You know what I mean? They're the best pets you can have. You can feed them anything. You know what I mean? You gotta be careful when they die. You know what I'm saying? You can't touch their dead carcass. But it just goes to show you that how evil the oppressor is, especially during the time of slavery. They gave us the worst sides of the hog, giving us, chitlins, and even, and then even with that, you're not supposed to be eating pork anyway. Like when the car is saying with them chopped pork sirloins, the pig's butt, all that, we ain't supposed to be eating that, period. And them pigs are going to be consumed in our kingdom, in our world, man. Go ahead, Nicole.
If I could, remember the general was bringing out, I said like a month ago, he was bringing out how I believe it was the prisons back in the 50s to the 60s and the 30s, one of those time periods. They was actually, because it was such a cheap meal that can be caught, they were serving nothing but lobster. Because that was cheap as a bottom feeder. Now they flipped the script, and now
it's a delicacy.
The most. Oh, I want a surf and turf. I need a lobster tail. You know what I'm saying?
Good night. Goes to show you just how evil and abominable the oppressor is, man. Let's read on.
Oh, God. All right. I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for in effect, therefore was his name called Edom.
Mm-hmm. He is wasted away. Because he's getting ready to waste something away. Let's see what that wasted away is. Read on.
Oh, God. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright.
Jacob was like, all right, nigga, I'll give you this red pottage. This unlaw. I know you're not supposed to be eating it like this, but you got to sell me your birthright. Now he's joking with it. You know how we joke? Like, oh, you crazy, man. You want this red pottage? Sell me your birthright, man. Sell me your birthright. Let's see what Esau had to say.
God, verse 32. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? Esau
made a mistake. Your birthright is to die for. But he's such an evil, abominable bastard that he don't give a damn about his birthright. That's why it wasn't meant for him to rule anyway. Remember, elder shall serve the younger. Go ahead, Nicole.
And if I could, sir, this is the spirit. You understand? This is an evil spirit. You're supposed to be willing to die for the Lord, not to, just say, like for the Day of Atonement. Something that the Muslims took from us and do it so perversely. And what is never taught us in the Christian church, you're supposed to be willing to die on that day, on that 24-hour fast. You is not to eat or drink anything. Now, if you have affliction dealing with, you might have to take medication, or you at that age of old age, you pass that cup, drink from that, but you supposed to be willing to die for the Lord, like we always have been doing for years.
Right.
You know what I mean? For centuries, man, dying, willing to put our life on the line. This brother, this devil.
Phone's on mute.
All right. You supposed to be willing to die for the Lord, and just for a bowl of soup, you willing to give away something so precious from the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob knew that. He knew that Esau wasn't nothing. He knew it was true. That's why he threw it at him like that. And he really wasn't worthy of it.
Mm-hmm. Let's read on.
Come. All right. And Jacob said, swear to me this day, and he swore to him.
He swore to him. He sold that birthright. He said, here you go. Give me that red pottage. Read on.
And he sold his birthright to Jacob.
And he sold his birthright unto Jacob. He ended up selling his birthright. Jacob didn't steal it, didn't trick him. You know what I mean? Not going to break down, the rest of it. I'll give you a summary. But afterwards, right, when Jacob got the blessing from Esau sold his birthright to Jacob. Now, as a matter of fact, we can go into it. We got time. Give me Genesis 27, start at verse 1.
Oh, God.
Now, keep in mind, Isaac is the older brother now. He can't see. Esau just sold his birthright to Jacob, sold the blessing to his brother so he can eat his red pottage and get down on that bloody stew. Read on.
Okay. This is Genesis chapter 27 and verse 1. And it came to pass that when Isaac was old, and his eyes was dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son and said unto him, my son. And he said unto him, behold, here am I. Verse 2. And he said, behold now, I am old, I know not the day of my death. Verse 3. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison.
So go out there and hunt me some of that good venison that you good to go get. Read on.
Come, verse 4. And make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I might eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die.
Now, if Esau had any ounce of integrity, what do you think he'd have done? He'd have said, well, Salakia Abba, Salakia Father, I sold my birthright to Jacob so I can eat some bloody stew. I know I wasn't supposed to do that, but I was hungry. The red bloody stew was looking good. I wanted it. Bless Jacob. Don't bless me. But let's read on.
Come. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field, hunt for venison, and to bring it.
Esau said, the hell with you, Jacob. I'm still going to get this blessing. Even though I rightfully sold it to you, it's not mine no more, it's yours. Kind of like how the oppressor made treaties and agreements with our First Nation brothers and sisters and broke, I don't know, all of them. He's always been a dishonest bastard, man. You sold the birthright to our forefather Jacob so you could eat, abomination. And now you like, I'm going to get over on that nigga. I know I sold it to him, but I'm about to get over on him. I'm still going to get this blessing. The greed of the oppressor. And Esau is the father of the oppressor. The Edomites, meaning wasted away, because he wasted away his blessing. Now, to give you the gist of it, I'm going to skip you down some, but Rebecca heard this and said, nah, it ain't going down like this. Jacob's supposed to rule. Esau sold his birthright. Now, hold up. Angel of the Lord came to me and said, Jacob is supposed to rule, not Esau. And then the cherry on top was like, well, damn, that nigga sold his birthright and now he's still trying to get over him. Nah. She told Jacob, yo, go in there, listen to me, to let this sin be upon me. And to be honest with you, what Rebecca did, there was nothing wrong with that. Rebecca did nothing wrong because the angel of the Lord came to her and told her that Jacob was supposed to rule. The elder was supposed to serve the younger. So Rebecca told Jacob, go put on your brother's clothes, go get some goat meat and put it on your arms and your forearm and everything because you know your brother's a hairy bastard. And go get that blessing. Say you're Esau. Go ahead, Nicole.
So, like, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So going down, right, more into the part of when, the whole thing went down with the blessing. Now, if I'm not mistaken, right, Esau, Isaac knew that it really wasn't Esau.
No. He said, is this really Esau? Now, remember, Isaac was old in old age, couldn't hear that well. It explains it too. You know what I mean? When Isaac was, where Isaac in Genesis 27 and verse 1, where it says when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim so he could not see, he called Esau and Esau came. But when Jacob came in dressed like Esau, smelling like him, because Jacob ended up telling his mother, he said, my father is going to feel me. He's going to look at me like a liar and a deceiver. So Rebecca said, don't worry about that. Let that be on me. What Jacob didn't know is that the angel of the Lord came and told her. Isaac knew nothing about this, told Rebecca that Jacob was supposed to rule and not Esau. Isaac was like, well, damn, you sound like Jacob. But then he felt it and was like, all right, this has to be Esau. Because Isaac's old right now. He's an older brother. He's getting ready to die. He doesn't necessarily know. And it's going to explain, too, when Esau comes back. As a matter of fact, skip that part. Drop down to verse 30. Genesis 27 and 30. Let me read that for you. Go ahead.
Real quick, back to the question I had. Now, Esau, so like Isaac, when he told him, like, no, your brother got it now, because he wound up, Esau wound up coming back, trying to finesse his way, getting back his birthright. Mm-hmm. And his response, when I was looking at it, it seemed as though that he didn't give it to Esau. He was just like, it was going to your brother now.
Yeah, he couldn't give it to Esau, though. He couldn't. Oh. He could not. And it's going to explain why. Oh. And then plus, you know what I mean? Like I was saying earlier, it explains itself that the elder shall serve the younger. You know what I mean? Esau also after we read this, I want you to give me Hebrews 12 and 16 to 17. That'll further explain it too. But read verse 30.
Verse 30. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 27, verse 30. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce going out from the presence of Isaac, his father, that Esau's brother came in front.
Esau just got back from getting that venison. He thinking he getting ready to get over on Jacob. Read on.
Verse 31. And he also made savory meat and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that thou so may bless me.
He like, man, let me get that blessing that I sold to my brother. That blessing that I'm trying to steal from my brother. Read on.
Come. Verse 32. And Isaac, his father, said unto him, Who art thou?
He said, who are you, nigga? Esau. I just got done speaking to Esau. Who art thou? Don't get caught up by who art thou. You know, that's old Quaker English. Who are you? Read on.
Come. And he said, I am your son, your firstborn Esau. Verse 33. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly.
Now Isaac was like, he trembled like, wait a minute. And then the way Isaac say this lets you know that Isaac is our forefather. You know what I mean? That we are the true, you know what I mean, Jews of antiquity. These are black men. Read on.
Come. And it said, who?
It said, who? Y'all ever had somebody tell you crazy that so-and-so did, and you just be like, who? Who said that? Who? Come on, sister. Y'all know y'all be at the slave, and it'd be an unruly sister. Like, I smack every sister here. You'd be like, who? Isaac was like, come on now. Y'all sitting up in front. Isaac was like, who? Oh, man. Read on.
Come. Where is he that had taken venison and brought it me?
Mm-hmm.
And I have eaten all of before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed.
And he shall be blessed. He's like, man, I just gave so-and-so the blessing. If that wasn't you, that had to have been Jacob. I gave it to Jacob. But the blessing was rightfully Jacob's to begin with. Because you were never meant to rule, Esau. You were always meant to be an evil, wicked bastard. That's why the angel of the Lord told Rebekah, the elder shall serve the younger. You sold your bird right away, Esau. You sold your blessing. Read on. Read Esau's response, verse 34.
Verse 34. But when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceedingly bitter cry. Mm-hmm. He said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father.
He said, bless me, father, and crying like a punk. You the one that tried to get over on your brother because you a liar and the father of the lie, like it says in John 8:44. Read on.
Come. He said, Thy brother came with subtlety. Subtlety. Mm-hmm. And had taken away thy blessing. Mm-hmm. Verse 36.
He's like, man, that nigga came cool, calm, and collective and sly and got over on me, but I was really trying to get over on him. Really, Esau, the Lord wasn't with you. It never was. Read on.
But I'm God. Verse 36. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob?
Is he not rightly named Jacob? Read on.
Come. For he has supplanted me these 2 times.
How the hell did this nigga get over on me twice? I sold him my blessing so I could get over and eat the meat with the blood and everything, which is unlawful. And then I tried to steal it back from him. He ain't, how did he get over on me like this? That's not even in his nature. It ain't his nature to be, you know what I mean, smooth like that, to be sly like that, conniving, but when really he wasn't none of those things. Jacob was given what was rightfully his, Esau, but you're such a bitter bastard that you sold your blessing, and now you want to come back and steal it back. After you made an agreement for your brother to give you some meat that you're not supposed to eat, by the way, but you were so adamant that you gave up your blessing for it. You gave up your blessing. You thought so little of your blessing that you could just give it away and eat some unlawful meat, you know what I mean, some bloody meat, and then try to steal it back and get over on the Most High. Lie, Esau. He can cry all he wants. Now drop down to verse 39.
Come. Verse 39. And Isaac, his father, answered and said,
Read verse 38.
Verse 38. Esau said to his father, "Hast thou but one blessing, my father?"
He crying like, but you don't got a blessing for me, even though I tried to get over on my brother and steal from him twice. Read on.
Bless me.
Bless me. Read on.
Even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept.
And cried. I wish I could have seen that. Can't wait for the kingdom. I'm going to laugh at the oppressor in the kingdom. And the Lord going to laugh at him too. The Lord laughing at him right now. Read on.
Verse 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
Your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. Read on.
And of the dew of the heaven from above.
Meaning you're going to have to scrape for everything you get. You're going to be so low down and conniving that you're going to have to scrape for every little thing. Read on.
Verse 40. And by thy sword shalt thou live.
And by the sword shalt thou live. Meaning Esau lives by the sword. How does Esau live by the sword? He murders everything in sight. Ask our First Nation brothers and sisters. Ask our so-called Hispanic brothers and sisters. Ask our black brothers and sisters. Esau said at the end of the verse that when Isaac died at the time of our mourning for our father, he said that I'm going to kill you. And that's why Jacob had to go live with his cousin Laban, his uncle Laban. Esau was going to murder us, man. Esau has always had this hatred for our people. And guess what? He cannot repent for the evil that he's done to our people. I brought this out to break down and show who the oppressor really is, that he is Esau. He is the so-called Edomites of the earth, the devil that the Bible speaks of. He has wasted away. Go ahead, Nick.
So like I said, I had this book called Who is Esau? Edom. And in the book, it's a white man explaining how the historical evidence, it says clearly in the book that this is not something for you have to be seasoned. You have to be seasoned. You gotta be some kind of season in this Bible to be able to understand the breakdown. He gives the breakdown of who Esau really is.
Exactly, because the oppressor knows who he is. I had a book, Rome, Empire of the Edomites. You know what I mean? Those same devils that rule Rome, the same ones that rule today, they're the devil that the Bible speaks of. They're the Edomites. And they know this. What we have to understand is that we have to understand and know who the oppressor is. We have to understand and be able to identify him. That's why I decided to break this down today, so we can know he's not so-called white, not so-called Caucasian. He's the devil that the Bible speaks of. Everything's wild. Who's that? Oh, Barzo. Son of Christ. Well, give me Hebrews. I'm going to end with this. Give me Hebrews 12 and 16.
12 and 16, sir.
Okay.
Hebrews 12 and 6. Okay.
Yeah, Hebrews 12 and 16.
12 and 16.
Right in the bar.
All right. We're in the book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau.
Now, least there be any fornicator or profane. What does profane mean? To be an abominable monster, a bastard, a fornicator. He's the biggest fornicator, the biggest homosexual there is on the planet. That's the so-called oppressor. Who is the devil that the Bible speaks of? Read on.
Come. As Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright.
And for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. He sold his birthright so he could eat that bloody meat. Read on.
Come. Verse 17. For ye know that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing.
Now he would have inherited the blessing. He would have received the blessing. Read on.
Come. He was rejected.
He was rejected. He was rejected because the Most High did not want Esau to be his chosen people. He wanted us, black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman. That's why Esau was rejected. In Romans, the 9th chapter, scriptures say in Romans 9:13, for Jacob have I loved, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, as it is written, meaning it was written in the book of Malachi. Jacob have I loved, black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman. And Esau, who is the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks of, have I hated. That he made one vessel unto honor, which is the black man, the Hispanic man, the First Nation man and woman. We've been made unto honor. And the vessel unto dishonor is the oppressor. He cannot repent for the evil that he's done. Read on the car.
Come. He was rejected, for he found no place of repentance.
He found no place of repentance. Read on.
Though he sought it carefully with tears.
Though he's going to cry and seek after it, he cannot redeem himself for what he's done. That's why the oppressor is going into captivity along with these other nations, and why it's important for us. I'm going to leave you with one last scripture, and that's Zephaniah 2:1. I'm going to paraphrase it. Zephaniah 2:1 says to gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. We are not desired as blacks, Hispanics, and First Nation men and women. But you know who does desire blacks, Hispanics, and First Nation men and women? The Most High Yahweh, our King Yahweh Shah Mashiach. And the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commander General Yohana desires blacks, Hispanics, and First Nation men and women. It's time for us to come back together. And with that, I'm Priest and Officer 1000. This is the Monday night class, and I'm going to pass the class off to Priest and Officer Nakar.